A little girl seems to have discovered something terrifying. The plane's turbines, which had just smashed through a flock of birds, are rapidly disintegrating. The captain announces over the intercom for everyone to fasten their seatbelts, but before anyone can react, disaster strikes. A man desperately clings to a shadow. A flight attendant tries to pull him down, but is sucked out with him. The plane enters a high-speed descent. Passengers cling tightly to the seats, not daring to relax. Soon, the plane crashes into the ocean, just as the passengers in the back think they've escaped. The plane begins to sink at a 45-degree angle. Seawater rushes into the cabin through a hole. Fortunately, the sinking stops quickly. No more water enters the cabin. 3 passengers in the back of economy class and a flight attendant have temporarily escaped. They hear faint impacts from the water ahead. A little girl emerges from the water, followed by Lisa's butler, Old Boo. Old Boo also rescues the girl's unconscious grandmother. The flight attendant helps with CPR. Perhaps because they weren't underwater long, the grandmother quickly wakes up. 7 survivors currently. The most experienced and resourceful is Lisa's butler, Old Boo. Old Boo says rescue should be searching for them now. We need to conserve oxygen. She asks the flight attendant to check the spare oxygen tanks. They're empty. The flight attendant says it's likely a colleague's oversight. They weren't checked before the flight. The grandmother remembers a passenger next to her who used oxygen. Maybe their tank can help. Hearing this, Old Boo immediately takes off their coat and dives into the water. She doesn't know how dangerous it is underwater. A group of sharks are swimming towards the plane, drawn by the scent. Old Boo quickly retrieves the oxygen tank. Returning, she cautiously checks the hole. Only then does she swim back. But then, the water's surface ripples. Everyone is confused. They don't know what's happening below. Suddenly, Old Boo emerges from the water. Lisa tries to help, but is stopped. Old Boo struggles to place the oxygen tank on a chair. They also bring back the grandmother's husband's hat. Then, she tells Lisa, "I'm sorry, child. I can't take care of you anymore. You have to rely on yourself from now on." Immediately, a shark drags Old Boo away. Everyone is terrified. The first thing that comes to mind is deep-sea predators, sharks. Worried about shark attacks, they huddle in the galley. But this isn't the safest place either. They hear the sound of metal contracting from the ceiling. Lisa's boyfriend says this plane has an aluminum hull. At this depth, it should hold. But if it sinks any further, it might not withstand it. Soon after, a secondary descent occurs. The plane slides down a slope into the deep. Luckily, it stops at a cliff. Lisa cautiously checks. The plane is even more tilted than before. Waiting isn't an option. Adon can't predict if the plane will slide again, but escaping underwater means facing the sharks outside. They're in a difficult situation. The little girl says sharks are afraid of bubbles. She learned that in class. No one takes her seriously. This suggestion will later save several lives. Lisa's friend remembers seeing during check-in a passenger with diving equipment in their luggage, a green suitcase. If only they could find it. The flight attendant interrupts, saying the tanks in that suitcase are empty. They had to be empty to be allowed on board. A man suggests refilling them using the air from the emergency life vests. It sounds like a good idea, but they lack experience and don't know if it'll work. Meanwhile, the rescue helicopter spots the wreckage. 2 divers are sent down to scout. They quickly find the plane clinging to the cliff. The divers reach the window. They give an okay sign to reassure everyone. However, the people inside seem to notice something and look terrified. The divers think they're scared and gesture again, unaware of a shark behind them. The people inside frantically gesture for them to turn around. The diver turns but sees nothing. It's over. After finally being found, even the rescuers are lost. They remember the other diver. Maybe they're trying to enter through the hole. They rush to look. But after waiting, no one surfaces. It's likely the diver was also attacked by sharks, waiting for more rescue. They don't know how long it will take. The cabin's oxygen won't last that long, nor do they know when the plane will sink again. Lisa suggests checking if the diver died in economy class. If so, they can use their air supply. Lisa carefully lowers herself into the water. Her timid boyfriend climbs onto a chair to be with her. Visibility is extremely poor. Lisa tries once, seeing nothing. She tries again. This time, she seems to see a blurry figure. She climbs back up and says she saw them. Her boyfriend, momentarily elated, loses his balance.
Daj rękę.
They pull him up. He survives, but loses a leg. They use tools to tie up his leg and stem the bleeding. Once stable, Lisa decides to try her friend's suggestion, to find the passenger's diving gear. The flight attendant opens the access to the luggage compartment, and tells Lisa where the special luggage is. Lisa is the protagonist. She searches through the messy luggage, holding her breath. She's startled by an octopus, choking on some water. She finds the diving equipment. There are 4 suits. There are 5 survivors. It's not enough. The writer provides a convenient plot point. Lisa's boyfriend dies from his injuries. Worse, the plane tilts a 3rd time. Lisa is heartbroken. Escaping is key. Lisa suggests trying the little girl's method. Use the life vests to create bubbles to scare off sharks. She'll lead the way to find the diver's tanks. They'll use it sparingly to float up. But her friend hesitates. He almost drowned in the deep as a child. He still has trauma. Lisa persuades him to escape. They gear up. The grandmother says she's old. She worries she can't care for her granddaughter. She asks Lisa to protect the child. Lisa agrees. After confirming no sharks are nearby, she leads the child forward. A shark appears. Lisa releases the bubbles. It works. The shark flees. Seeing the bubbles, it really runs away. Meanwhile, the flight attendant takes Lisa's friend and the grandmother down. Unexpectedly, the grandmother doesn't try to escape. Perhaps because of her age, she feels she has little chance of survival. Maybe because her husband is gone. She wants to stay and be with him forever. Lisa's friend suddenly swims back. They think she's worried about the grandmother, but she keeps saying she's scared. I can't dive anymore. A force pushes her underwater. It's a shark. The flight attendant leaves her and swims away. Lisa finds the diver. They take breaths to recover. The flight attendant arrives. Lisa gestures, asking about the situation. He shakes his head. They are both unconscious. They remove the diving gear, putting it on the flight attendant. Lisa activates the girl's life vest. They quickly rise. As Lisa prepares to follow, a shark approaches. She tries to activate her life vest, but it may be too late. She remains still. Fortunately, she's uninjured and doesn't attract attention. The shark swims towards the diver. Another shark appears. She swims towards the front of the plane. The plane falls off the cliff. A strong current pulls her back. She swims down, clinging to a chair. She surfaces, having held her breath for a long time. She's been underwater for a long time. The surface is far away. She loses consciousness. Her life vest brings her to the surface. She wakes up. She immediately thinks of the flight attendant and the girl. She only finds the girl's toy. Lights appear in the sky. The rescue team has found her. They pull Lisa up. She sees a familiar face. The flight attendant and the girl have been rescued.